Welcome back to Let's Read. Today I'm reading I Hate Myself and I Wanna Die by Tom Reynolds, the 52 most depressing love songs you've ever heard. We are on the first chapter. Now, time for the songs. You can look up these songs because unfortunately I cannot play these songs. They are copywritten. So, yeah, can't really play them. But they are very, very much. You can actually look them up on YouTube. They're on YouTube. So, yeah, you can look them up. Anyway, the first chapter is I Was a Teenage Car Crash. Tell Laura I Love Her. Performed by Ray Peterson. Released in 1960, number 1 in the U.S. Performed by Ricky Valens, released in 1960, number 1 in the U.K. Written by Jeff Barry and Ben Lee Rayleigh. Sorry. Stories of teenagers prematurely shuffling off their mortal coils have been around since Romeo and Juliet. And the rise of the American car culture during the 1950s and the early 1960s inspired the dispiriting teenage car crash songs. These involve a young couple who are madly in love until one of them perishes in a fiery car wreck, leaving the other alone to grieve. These are noble fatalities, mind you. None of them ever involving booze, drugs, or carjacking. The young protagonists of the TCC Songs die because of selfless love and a preternatural lack of any brain cells whatsoever. Tell Laura I Love Her was the first major TCC song, a weepy ballad about a love-struck teenage boy named Tommy who ends up getting cremated on a racetrack for the love of his life, girlfriend Laura. The song was originally a number 1 hit in the U.S. for Ray Peterson in the 1960s, while a cover version by a Welsh singer, Richie Valens, went to the top of the UK charts the same year. It's important to point out, at the time, rock and roll in general sucked like a galaxy-devouring black hole. Tell Laura would be both Peterson's and Valens' only hit, forever cursing them both to sing it throughout their careers. Well, that goes to show you. Don't make a terrible song. The song. Both Peterson's and Valens' version of Tell Laura I Love Her rely on a pregating guitar figure that could be found on 98% of the songs released back then. Early rock and roll fans would recognize it instantly, as will zygotes that were conceived last week. We learn about Tommy and Laura, young, white, and looking forward to their future together in Kennedy's America. They would fit easily into the comic strip Archie, as bit players, looking on the non-pust while Betty and Veronica got into a catfight. Tommy is especially gaga about his Laura and wants to buy her an engagement ring, but alas, doesn't have the money to buy it. That's when he sees a poster advertising a stock car race with a first prize of $1,000. That's the ticket. Tommy tells himself, I'll enter in the race, compete in a sport I know nothing about, and come in first so I win the $1,000. Ah, good plan. Yes, I was being sarcastic. Naturally, this enterprising epiphany only serves to foreshadow the tragedy that follows. Once we hear he saw a sign for stock car race, we already know Tommy's a few hours away from being turned into a briquette. Or, I'm not sure how you pronounce that word. I'm sorry. I actually never eaten that food before, so. Anyway. Flushed with excitement, Tommy hurriedly calls Laura. She isn't home, so the doomed lad leaves a message with her mother. Tell Laura I love her. Tell Laura I need her. Tell Laura I may be late. I've something to do that cannot wait. Yes, it sounds that bad. Tommy messages sends off a tragic sequence of events that follow. Just as Romeo and Juliet when Romeo fails to receive word that Juliet is only faking her death. I'm comparing this song to Shakespeare because, well, it makes me laugh. Makes us laugh too. Deep down. It is pretty funny. Tommy is the youngest driver at the track. Of course, the others being old geezers in their mid-20s. Rather than send him home with a gentle scolding, race officials allow him to compete while stifling their laughter. Yeah, but it was still a terrible idea. Well, I'm not versed in NASCAR rules, but I'm fairly certain they frown on high school boys showing up in a boxy Chevy with bald tires and a faulty clutch. Besides, Tommy has no pit crew and is completely clueless as the basic strategies of auto racing, i.e. slamming into a wall is generally not a good idea. It does sound like he did that. Within a few laps, he rolls the car, which becomes engulfed in flames. He is pulled out of the wreckage, coughing up carbon before proclaiming his love for Laura and uttering his last breath. Tell Laura not to cry, my love for her will never die. By the last stanza, Laura is alone in the church praying for Tommy. In the chapel's echo-filled acoustics, she can hear his haunting cries of how he still loves her. But it's as creepy as it sounds. Yeah, it's really creepy. Anyway, why it's depressing. At the time Tell Laura was released, Elvis had been drafted. Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper were dead. And Eddie Cochran soon would be. The airwaves were ruled by lame teen idols like Tommy Sands and Fabian. And both Ray Peterson and Ricky Valance fit right in with all the Anglo blandness. It was pretty bland, to be honest. Peterson was originally a rockabilly singer. After noticing how Gene Vincent and the Burnett brothers hadn't made a dime singing rockabilly, went the pop route and hit #1 with the tragic Tell Laura I Love Her. Neither Peterson nor Valance are bad crooners, but both practically sob Tell Laura with an articulation that's so pronounced they sound like Eliza Doolittle practicing the rain in Spain. Like all TCC songs, Tell Laura is a relic from a time long vanished. Today's teenagers eat it in car wrecks while reaching for their cell phones or going off a cliff, leaving an outdoor rave. As for $1,000, it's going towards the laptop. Or his or her iPods. In retrospect, the song is more about fidelity than sacrifice. True, Tommy dies for Laura, but let's face it, if he had survived and won the race, he'd be unbearable. Tommy getting scorched on the track saved Laura from a future with a reckless idiot who thinks every time one of his harebrained ideas is a surefire winner. 9 years into their doomed marriage, Laura, 7 months pregnant with their third child, would be rolling her eyes as Tommy, bankrupt from his third business venture, stands in the backyard by the barbecue, regaling the neighbors with the story of his racetrack victory for the 143rd time. Later during the trial, separation, Tommy would be sulking at the Dewdrop Inn, downing Patsy Blue Ribbon while whining to the bartender. "Can you believe she threw me out? I won a stock car race for her. Hey, did I ever tell you that story? See? What happened was, I saw this sign." Good riddance. Yeah, I would agree too. That would be a terrible, terrible relationship. Okay, the second song in the TCC lineup is Teen Angel. Performed by Mark Dinning. Released 1960. Number 37 in the UK, although it was banned. Number 1 in the US. Written by Gene Dining. It has a really weird friggin' name. Released in January 60, The Inane Teen Angel followed closely on the heels of Tell Laura I Love Her, and stayed faithful to the TCC template. The victim sacrifices herself to demonstrate her eternal love for her boyfriend. In other words, she dies from an appalling lack of common sense, for which she is not called to task later during the memorial. Yeah, she probably should have been. We all gathered here today to remember Teen Angel, who passed away because she had the brains of a fly. The song ups the tragedy level of Tell Laura with a few degrees by giving the adolescent girl a chance to escape her grim fate. Alas, the teen angel makes a fatal decision that leads to her getting flattened in front of her boyfriend's eyes. Though Teen Angel has been campy staple of the Sha-La-La's live show for decades, the original version was sung by a wobbling tenor named Mark Dining, whose three older siblings comprised the Dining Sisters, a vocal act from the 1940s, who charted a few minor hits. Mark followed in their footsteps and made a futile attempt at being a rock and roller, which he clearly wasn't. Sister Jean Dining helped out her little brother by penning the White Bread Teen Angel for him, and his recording of it for MGM went to number 1. In retrospect, Dining was the ultimate good soldier, just following orders. Rip off Ray Peterson? Sure, no problem. Sing about a dumb girl getting creamed by a train? Let's do it. Royalties? Nah, you keep them. The song made Mark Dining a star for the Warholian quarter hour, with simultaneously destroying his budding career altogether. That's what happens with these songs. TCC songs always have this kind of reaction. This song, Teen Angel, might be the only love ballad that nobody can slow dance to, which may be a good thing, because who would want to? It begins with Mark Dining cooing, "Teen Angel, Teen Angel," as a melancholy acoustic guitar strums each chord behind him. The music then drops into a quasi-Mexican vamp, while Dining sets up the situation at hand, that being a stalled car on the railroad tracks. The teen angel, all of 16 and nameless, is pulled out of the car by her boyfriend as the speeding train races towards it. "We were safe, but you went running back." Let's recap, shall we? Car stalls on railroad tracks. Train approaches, couple gets out safely, girl goes running back to car. There's a serious problem in the narrative logic here, because unless she left nuclear warhead behind, there's no logical reason anybody would do such a thing. Keep this in mind, as I have a theory about it coming up. This clearly wasn't a wise decision. Teen Angel, can you see me? Dinning sings longingly during the chorus. Are you somewhere up above? So it's official. The teen angel got smashed by the train only 40 seconds into the song. Nice. What was it you were looking for? Dining inquires, asking the question on everybody's mind. A coroner, someone who normally doesn't make appearances in pop songs, reveals the answer. Although also see DOA by Blood Rock, he finds something in the teen angel's tiny fist. It's probably not that tiny. That is returned to the bereaved boyfriend with great solemnity. The boy's high school ring, which is clutched tightly in her fingers. So there it is. The girl willingly stepped into the path of an oncoming white Freightliner to retrieve the high school ring he gave to her. That's his story, and he's sticking to it. Dining mournfully tells us how he'll never be able to kiss her lips again. Those same lips that uttered her last word to him. Oh, damn, I forgot something. I'll be right back. Yeah, that doesn't sound weird. The song ends as quickly and irredeemably as it began. 2 weeks after recording of Teen Angel, Mark Dining had a #1 hit record and was singing it on an American Bandstand in front of screaming teenagers. 2 months after that, he was collecting unemployment benefits. Why it's depressing. Since the American music industry was in a bad way during the early 1960s, it may explain the cultural naivety that compelled record buyers to make these depressing songs #1 for almost 14 weeks. Though it's better performed than Tell Laura I Love Her, Teen Angel is saddled with the most egregious plot of the TCC songs. It's difficult to get past the implausibility that any girl would jump in front of a speeding train to retrieve a class ring. As high school rings haven't changed much since the Louisiana Purchase, this means that Teen Angel sacrificed herself to retrieve one of those thick-banded sterling silver monstrosities you can use to punch open a safe. There's only one logical explanation. The Teen Angel was murdered. That's right. I'm declaring this clear-cut case of homicide right here and now. If Narc Dinging thinks I'm buying his claims that she went back to the car on her own, he's dreaming. My theory is this. After months of malt shops, clammy hand-holding, the guy grows tired of his teen angel. If only because she wants to break up. She threatens to tell the school he's a communist. A very big deal in 1960. Frustrated, The boy hatches a devilish plot and takes her for a car ride under the guise of reconciliation. He then knocks her out, parks the car in the middle of the railroad track, puts his class ring in her hand, and gets out of the car just as the train is approaching. Crash! No more Teen Angel. Scoff ye may, but this scenario makes far more sense than the preposterous tragedy Mark Dinning sings about. This is what makes Teen Angel so depressing. Because justice has not been served. The SUB got away with murder. Book 'em, Dano! I do like the ending of that particular song. Okay, the last of the TCC songs, and the last song we talk about until the next chapter, which will not be out for a little while. Anyway, last song is Last Kiss, performed by J. Frank Wilson and the Cavaliers. Released in 1964, number 1 in the US, performed by Pearl Jam, released 1999, number 2 in the US. Pearl Jam didn't get number 1, they got number 2. Words and music by Wayne Crochan. This is the only TC song personally me, Irish Loonies, actually likes. I don't like the song Teen Angel, and I really don't like the song Tell Laura I Love Her, but I do like the song Last Kiss. But I will also make a point, it is depressing. I like it, but it's depressing. Why do I like it? Because, well, it does a good job of depressing you. Okay, to get on with the last song. Performed, as I said before, by J. Frank Wilson. The last of the 3 Teenage Car Crash songs. The near brilliant Last Kiss is hands down the best and most tragic of the lot, and remains my personal favorite. It's Tom Reynolds' personal favorite too. It's also mine. Unlike its predecessors, there is no egregious lack of intelligence about the young couple whose lives are changed one fatal night. The song was superbly remade by Pearl Jam in 1998, and it was refreshing to hear Eddie Vedder sing a song while not sounding like a Teammeister with a mouthful of Novocaine. The real tragedy of Last Kiss lies with the artist who recorded the semi-hit version. Last Kiss was written by the semi-legendary rockabilly Wayne Crochan, known for his flashy clothes and Hellbent-like platinum-colored hair. He read a newspaper article about a teenager girl who died in a car accident while on a date, and penned Last Kiss so that he could record it himself. Although he had a reputation for playing wild rockabilly, his 1964 version of Last Kiss was curiously bland and charted only modesty in regional markets. Then a Texas-based rock group called J. Frank Wilson and the Cavaliers got a hold of the song and recorded a cover. It was their version which became a national hit, going to number one in a matter of weeks. It was far superior to Cotran's tepid original because of its low fidelity rawness. It was recorded in just 5 hours. Yeah, Wayne Cotran really didn't actually try. You could tell he didn't try. An unmistakable quality about the lead singer, J. Frank Wilson's voice. He sounded a little off. Last Kiss began with its famous chorus of oh, where can my baby be? Over a thumping, clanging accompaniment supplied by the Cavaliers. Vocalist Wilson throws himself into the drama of the song, telling us how the Lord took her away from me. Right away, we know someone has perished, making this the only TCC song that gives away the ending at the beginning. Oddly enough, this actually works to the song's benefit, lending a what happened urgency to its narrative. The song begins innocently enough, with a young man and his girl driving together. We were out on a date in my daddy's car, Wilson sings in his edgy voice. Suddenly, the boy spies a stalled car in the middle of the road and tries to swerve around it, only to hear the crying tires, busting glass, painful scream. This is startling stuff, and Frank J. Wilson's frantic voice gives a disturbing sheen. He repeats the chorus, then flashes back to the aftermath once again. Wilson describes pouring rain and the blood running through his eyes as he gropes around trying to locate his girl. He finds her dying and lifts her head to where he can hear her. Hold me, darling, just a little while, she whimpers to him. They share their last kiss before she dies in his arms. The chorus returns one final time, repeating its sad lament before fading out. Why is it depressing? Yowza, how do you top a song like this? Well, you can't. And no one ever tried after Last Kiss, except maybe Blood Rock with the gruesome DOA. Wilson oddly bent vocals add just the right amount of pathos to the song, while the upbeat music doesn't compromise its tragic story. Last Kiss is easily the most successful of all the TCC songs. And the Cavaliers originally hold up well alongside Pearl Jam's grungier remake. Everything about it works. You'll find yourself pleasantly depressed while listening to it. The inferior predecessors, Tell Laura I Love Her and Teen Angel, come off as immature melodramas and work today only as kitnish. Last Kiss has a timeless quality that even grumpy Pearl Jam was able to capture. Wayne Cochran, the writer of Last Kiss, continued performing in roadhouses and fairs before falling on hard times due to drinking and divorce. In 1981, he was able to turn his life around and left the rock stage for the pulpit, becoming a Christian minister. Alas, Last Kiss singer J. Frank Wilson did not fare as well. Even though the song was a #1 hit, both Wilson and the rest of the Cavaliers were stiffed in royalties. Their manager sued the record company, resulting in a paltry, flat-out payout of only $3,000. The lawyers earned vastly more. Like most of his contemporaries, Wilson was never able to chart another song and was co-signed to a one-hit wonder status. By 1974, 10 years of having the #1 single in the States, J. Frank Wilson was living in Lufkin, Texas, working as an orderly in a nursing home for $250 a week. They took the little country boy, he was quoted saying, and put him in a big city with big money. He didn't know how to act. He had a hard life, but I learned. He also died from alcohol complications in 1991. And that is the end of the TCC Songs. And that is also the end of our video. This one's a little bit shorter than the last one, but I hope you still enjoyed it nevertheless. I had fun reading. I hope you had fun listening. Our next chapter, I Hate Myself and I Want to Die. And the chapter really is I Hate Myself and I Want to Die. It is the title of the book. This is the chapter the book's talking about. We're going to start with 2 and then work our way down to the last 3. I won't be doing that this video, but please look forward to my next video. Excuse me. I will see you in the next read. Have a good night. And listen to more books while falling asleep. This is Irish Loonies.